economics correspondent Rebecca Jarvis. Rebecca, first, your reaction to what you just heard from Larry Kudlow.
Well, Martha, first of all, I think the key question is how long does this last and what does the world look like on the other side? And Larry Kudlow talked about that $2.2 trillion stimulus, an eye-popping number. That stimulus is, frankly, to plug a gigantic hole. The $0 coming into most American businesses right now, the $0 in the pockets of more than 3 million Americans who were laid off last week. So when you think about these stimulus programs, plus the $4 trillion backstop from the Federal Reserve, it is to plug a gigantic void in the system. And the question is, as we go through this, the longer we last in this void, what does the world look like on the other side? And I spoke earlier this week with the CEO of Starbucks, who's now been through this already in China, where they closed a number of stores. 95% of those stores, Martha, have reopened. And I asked him about traffic in those stores, because we know the world, when things start to reopen, how are people going to respond? And he said that traffic picks up a little more each week, but there are still social distancing measures inside of the stores. And for many American businesses, this will be a new reality of the future. Fewer tables, for example, if you're a restaurant in your shop, maybe fewer people coming in if you're a hairdresser. All these different types of American business are going to have a different amount of foot traffic in the future. And the question is, how long can they really hold on for, even with this gigantic stimulus?
And Rebecca, just in these coming weeks, do you think things could get much worse?
Well, if we continue to see the type of layoffs that we saw, that more than 3 million number that we saw last week, and we very likely will continue to see the layoffs continue. We know, for example, that there were technical issues with websites, the unemployment insurance websites crashing. So we know that there will be more layoffs, especially with lockdowns. We know that that unemployment rate, which was 3.5% in February, is very likely to climb much higher in the coming weeks. If it were to climb to the worst case scenarios, we would be looking, Martha, at 20% unemployment. That is what we saw in the Great Depression. In the Great Recession, it was 10%. So we know these numbers are going to continue to climb. But here's something we also know. The American people are resilient. And you heard this in your package, the number of unemployed workers out there who are doing everything. I hear from small businesses every single day. They are doing everything in their power to keep their employees on board. They're running GoFundMes. People in neighborhoods and communities on websites like Nextdoor are showing up for their neighborhoods. So we know that people are going to do everything in their power to help. But that fundamental question is, for how long? How long can this last?
Thanks so much, Rebecca. And the American people are indeed inspiring. Thanks for joining us.